Hey, you listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM 89.0. As always, I'm Grady Hooker, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hello.
Just before we get into the show, we got a message here from FreeFM. Wrestling Roundup's available for sponsorship for as little as $25 to $35 per week. In return, you get exclusive access to our audience through advertising, on-air promotions, social media plugs, a bunch of stuff. So if you're involved in a business and you want to put your organization in front of our local, loyal, and engaged audience, then head to FreeFM's website. That's freefm.org.nz. Chat to them; they'll sort it out. And you can sponsor Wrestling Roundup or any other great shows that FreeFM puts on. So once more, freefm.org.nz. Now we'll jump into Smackdown, because Raw got a pay-per-view, so we'll do that after the song. Starting off with Smackdown. Randy Orton versus Aidan English, taken seriously as a match.
You wouldn't have said that a year ago.
I wouldn't have said that 3 months ago.
3 months ago. Yeah, it definitely seems like Aiden's getting a push.
You go from picking up wins against Sami Zayn to being in a competitive match against Randy Orton.
Yeah, it's definitely a step up, and but he's stepping up. Sami Zayn and a certain Charlie House wannabe have stepped down.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, looking at the roster now, in terms of where everybody's placement it's definitely shuffled in 3 months. I guess it's just a case of time passing and decisions being made.
Yeah, and everybody was like, send Sami Zayn to SmackDown, they'll use him better over there. I would say he was used better on Raw.
I can't remember anything memorable he's done, really, on either show, so I can't judge. I think he's being treated, in the fans' eyes, very badly on both shows. But yeah.
Yeah, but at least on Raw, he was always at the top of the card,
True.
Even if he was losing. And he's part of what initially got Braun Strowman over.
Yeah. See, I definitely think we've had, obviously, a couple of shifts between Raw and SmackDown roster-wise. There was always that rumor of the big one coming. I don't know if we're there yet, but it'd be interesting to see if there are any shake-ups and what exactly that actually does, because there is always the ones like Sammy where everyone's like, they'll do so much better on the other show, and then they don't, I guess is the greatest way to put it. They don't really do anything. Whereas if you look at someone like Aidan English, who didn't need a show swap, and all of a sudden he's being skyrocketed from nothing to taking on Randy Orton.
And then there's the biggest benefit of a show swap, and that was Jinder Mahal.
Who went from nothing to WWE champion.
In 1 month flat.
Yeah, we'll get to Jinder later on in the SmackDown half. There's some stuff to be said about him, but if we go back to the Randy Orton-Aidan English match, obviously match ends. Rusev comes out. He hasn't finished with Randy Orton. It seems like his promo was still targeted at Randy Orton, I now have to assume. But he gets one back, picks up a win in 10 seconds.
Well, it is what it is.
From his promo, there was always so many doors open, so many different ways they could have gone. And they went straight back to, obviously, what they were in the middle of. With the Randy Rusev. Randy did pick up the win in 10 seconds. Now Rusev's got his back in 10 seconds. I have to assume there's going to be one decent length match blow off between the two, hopefully, and then we'll go off on our separate ways. Rusev, again, is another one of those people where everybody thought he was going to do so much better on SmackDown. Like, I guess everybody just treats SmackDown as the holy grail in terms of treating the internet's favorite wrestlers well. But had an injury in the middle there, and then floundered a little bit, demanded a title match, and then we forgot he demanded a title match. And if this is a way to introduce him back to weekly television and get him back doing something, then I'm perfectly fine with a couple more matches with Randy Orton. The Hype Bros, not looking good for them, but they are vowing to make a change.
Well, I don't think Mojo really needs Zach anymore, and Zach needed Mojo way more than Mojo ever needed Zach.
Yeah, I don't know what this change is going to be. If obviously the obvious selection is that they're going to split up and go on a singles route and probably have a feud back and forth. People have said that it's merely going to be a heel turn. Some people said they're just going to get roster swapped. A lot of different options here, but I think definitely the obvious one is to split them and have Mojo win the separation feud. He is an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner.
That's the one I would want.
Always forget that, it did happen. It may have only happened because of Gronk, but it did happen. Defeated the current WWE champion to win as well.
And then beat him in a singles match the week later.
So really, Mojo Rawley is the WWE champion. That's what I'm hearing.
But then Jinder got his win back a few weeks ago.
Yeah, the landscape really changes in WWE over 3 months. I feel like 3 months is like if you look back at it, how different it is. And I know a while back everybody was sort of complaining that everything was so same old, and, nothing was really happening. Nowadays you can't really make that comment overall with the WWE just because so much is changing constantly. Whether people are going to just complain about it because they'll complain about anything doesn't really matter. If you talk about another guy that wasn't really being used, Ty Dellinger comes out and interrupts a US title match. He's weaseling his way into a potential triple threat here.
Well, you can't really blame him since Baron Corbin tried to get involved in his match the week before. And the week before that, or a couple weeks before that, he went to answer the challenge, and Baron Corbin took him out. So it's kind of been steadily going towards a triple threat.
Yeah, it always seemed like that was the way. I assume Hell in a Cell will probably see that triple threat. But it'd be interesting to see just because, Styles and Corbin can do good, Styles and Dellinger can do good, Dellinger and Corbin can do good. Shove them all in the ring. Surely all of the figures add up and it's going to be a good match, but you're never entirely sure. We'll hopefully see something good out of them. Do I see it being a title change? I don't see it being a title change towards Dellinger. I could see it being towards Corbin.
Yeah, because he doesn't win on pay-per-views. Remember that.
Yep. Always forget that about Dellinger, though. But yeah, I could see Corbin walking out with the title. I guess it depends. I want to say heavily on concussion-related instances, but I don't know how much that's going to play a factor in Baron's immediate career. We'll have to wait and see.
I think AJ holds the title for a little bit longer.
Okay. Just a teeny weeny bit more. Women's title match. It's now set. Charlotte manages to defeat Naomi, Tamina, and Becky, number one contender. We're going to see Natalya Charlotte. Rematch of a very good NXT takeover. It would have been the second takeover, I think? A really early takeover.
Yeah, I believe it was the second one. Because the first one, the women's championship match was Paige versus Emma. And then Paige went up to the main roster a couple months later. Obviously won the Divas Championship and dropped the NXT title. And then they did a tournament, and that was the finals at the next pay-per-view, at the next takeover. May
29th, 2014. Technically the first NXT takeover, because the event before was NXT Arrival. But the second in the series of NXT marquee shows. Yeah, that was a great match between the two of them there. Obviously they had Brett and Rick in their corners. I don't think we're going to go this route at the moment. But it'll still be interesting to see what the two of them can put on. Yeah, the biggest reason we may not is because Rick may not be healthy enough to do it. Yeah, there's a lot of Rick news coming out, obviously. Had his health scare and all of that, and then he comes back, and I believe I saw an article today. Yeah, he's admitted to alcoholism and vows to never drink again. Whether he sticks to that or not, obviously, he's Ric Flair. But we'll wait and see. Yeah, I mean, he's been going at it for 50 years. It's going to be hard for him to quit. You can say that about anything. Anybody who does anything for 50 years is going to be hard to quit. All power to him, really. We're going to completely skip over it. I'm just going to say that, again, it's our weekly update. Dolph Ziggler, still being annoying. Still don't care about him. Nope. Charlie Haas did it so much better. So much better. That's all we need. And my last point on SmackDown, it merely says Jinder Mahal was racist, and then follows up with a Washington Post article. Was this a smart idea on WWE's part for this one?
I don't know. I didn't really see the promo, but I heard he was accusing Japanese of being racist.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where he came out so many weeks in a row saying that everybody was racist because they hated him because he was different, and then boom, he comes out and he's racist towards the Japanese people. Yeah, it's a slightly confusing thing, but we'll have to wait and see how much backfiring there is. Obviously, there's going to be some amount of backfiring with mainstream media picking it up, but I don't know how far that's going to go. I'm going to read a direct quote without saying too much. He says, "You always rook the same," mocking the accent, followed up by calling him Mr. Miyagi, and also calling him the Karate Kid while miming martial arts poses. That's all.
Well, he's got about, I think, 3 weeks left in his title reign.
Fair enough. I think this, if anything, especially with the mainstream media, it just affirms that he was going to lose his title to Shinsuke. If there was even any doubt he wasn't.
The only question you would have had is that WWE Starrcade show.
True.
Because the proposed card lists him as the WWE champion.
I don't know about Starrcade. We'll wait and see with Starrcade. But that's all we got for the SmackDown half. We're going to jump into the Raw half, but in between we're going to play a song. Obviously very sad and disappointing news coming out this week that a legend of the ring, Bobby the Brain Heenan, passed away. It's always hard to make comments when things like these happen. When legends from old school WWE pass away, it's very hard to put feelings to words. And very often we'll just, play the entrance theme and take a moment there, and it's always the easier path to take than, I guess, trying to sit down and talk it through. But definitely commentator, manager, everything. Just an amazing talent all round, and his time came. Essentially all you can say there. But for now, we will play you Bobby the Brain Heenan's theme, and when we come back, we've got Raw previewing No Mercy. And you're back with Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM 89.0, Grady and Josh. No Mercy preview time. The only point I have that's not No Mercy is that Kurt Hawkins, extending his losing streak, we're now making a point out of mentioning it on television. Is it going to be something for him, yes or no?
No, but he probably will get a pop when he finally does win. I just found it funny, the first person when they actually mentioned the losing streak was the last person he actually beat on television.
Yeah, good luck, Kurt. Fingers crossed you pick up a win sometime in the next 12 months. Intercontinental Championship. Jason Jordan managed to defeat Elias Sampson, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and the Hardy Boys in a six-pack challenge to gain the right to take on The Miz at No Mercy.
And that was to the surprise of no one.
Yeah, nobody. Obviously, you got the Hardy Boys. Jeff just had his shot. You got the Miz Taraj. It was never really going to go that way. It would be very strange booking. Elias, a wild card selection there, but when the feud is the Miz versus Jason Jordan, that's the match you're going to expect to see at the pay-per-view. It's going to be a massive swerve if anything else happened as the outcome of that match. But looking at the title match, been saying it for a little while, I think the Miz's days may be numbered here, whether it's this match or whether it is a rematch or some form of other collision down the line. I think with the whole Kurt Angle storyline, we're going to be giving Jason Jordan the title bout sooner rather than later.
I'm going to say no.
Heart attack.
I'm going to say that they will attempt to have Kurt Angle try to stack the deck as much in Jason Jordan's favor as possible, but he won't get it done. And it will cause him to get frustrated and then turn on his father.
Oh no. That would make me so sad. I'm going to go with the happier route of Jason Jordan just picking up the Intercontinental Championship and having a nice little reign with it and celebrating with his father. But yeah, both routes have the possibility to happen. One of them a little more straightforward than the other, but I definitely see merits in your option here. Could also be the potential for them to play off the Kurt Angle is crooked part and maybe bring in Steph and Triple H back sooner rather than later as well. There, always an option.
And it's also always a possibility that they could eventually split up the Miztourage. There's definitely some seeds being planted there on Monday night.
Yeah, them being in that match really, if we didn't have the Jason Jordan storyline going, I would have rooted for one of them to win. Very much, I'm going to mess up which two it was. Was it Batista Triple H with Evolution? I think it was Batista. Either way, having the one that you think is your friend or your ally become the number one contender to your title and eventually taking it off you. Great storyline.
Yeah, it was, he won the Rumble. Then he was deciding whether or not what title he wanted to win. After Triple H tried to talk him into going to SmackDown to face the WWE champion, JBL. But unfortunately, he heard some Triple H back talking to Rick about him needing to go to SmackDown, and he stayed with Raw and won the World Heavyweight Championship. And then John Cena won the WWE Championship, and here we are today.
Perfect. Fatal 5-way match, Raw Women's Championship, Bayley managing to insert herself into the field.
Much to the annoyance of Emma.
Well, Emma's chances just went from 1% to 0.5%.
Who wasn't there because she decided to stay in Australia for a couple extra days.
Well,
after the Australia trip.
When you got no chance of winning anyway, do you really need to show up? I'm going to be super surprised, by the way, when No Mercy rolls around and they give Emma the title. I'm gonna pop out of my seat at work. I'm gonna be listening to it super quietly and just being like, it's a normal work day. I'm not distracted by the wrestling. And then Emma's gonna win, and I'm just gonna pounce out of my chair, and you're gonna see the security camera footage, and I'm gonna be fired because I'm that elated just running around the office, and I'm definitely gonna react very surprised if Emma picks up the win.
If you do that, then what are you gonna do if Dakota Kai wins the NXT Championship?
That's when I can't throw my monitor out the window. That seems like I'm mad. I'll just exact same. I think Dakota honestly is probably going to be less surprising than Emma here. I think Emma's is more the surprise factor than the Australian New Zealand connection, but I don't see it happening. Simple as that. I think we've talked about our options.
But you'd have more pride out of Dakota, though.
Definitely. I think any of the New Zealanders. Immediate pride towards finally winning a title. But, one of them's definitely happening right now, and one of them's potentially happening later on. That's the difference. Trying to see here. So, at least for the WWE, Bushwhackers never won a title. So, you technically could be the first New Zealander in the WWE to win a championship. There we go. Found the accolade Dakota can get. So, Alexa Bliss going to retain, or Nia Jax can take it?
I'd say Alexa retains very sneaky way, and it eventually sets up Nia versus Alexa straight up one-on-one, where then Nia does take the title.
With Asuka on the horizon still?
Yeah.
Righty-ho, Cruiserweight Championship time, Neville versus Enzo Amore. That's if there's anything left of Enzo after what Braun Strowman did to him.
Neville certainly didn't help matters.
It's been a rough few weeks for Enzo.
Yeah. I mean, he got burned by Miz, and this week you got. Last week he got figuratively burned. This week he got literally burned.
Mm-hmm. It's been brutal. He's been in a shark cage. He's been chewed out by the Miz. He's been demolished by Braun Strowman. I gotta feel that Neville's gonna win the title here, or retain the title, sorry.
I hate to say this, I think Enzo's gonna win the title.
Don't say it. If you don't say
It doesn't make sense, but I think it's gonna happen.
I feel like if they're this mad at the guy, that he's copping this much flack, surely they won't give him championship. That's all I gotta feel.
I don't know. Considering they just turned Rich Swann heel, I could see them putting it on Enzo just for long enough to transition it from Neville to another heel, like Rich Swann
or your best buddy boy Jack Gallagher, who's now a heel.
Yeah, or Gallagher. Yeah.
Right. So many heel turns in the cruiserweight division. Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt on Raw defeating Dustin Rhodes, not Goldust, and further demolishing any hope of another Goldust run.
Yep, that's signed, sealed, and delivered to not deliverable.
Mm-hmm. Rip the run. I guess we'll just sort of wave goodbye. Maybe see him at Starrcade. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But I'm happy I got to see him in person now. That was neat.
The matter at hand, Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt. Are we going to see a different outcome than we saw when Finn came out as the Demon?
No.
Exact same outcome. Finn wins again.
Yes, because it's Bray Wyatt in a pay-per-view. Makes
sense. Raw Tag Team Championships, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins taking on The Bar, Cesaro, and Sheamus. We got our triple threat tag team match, but it was on Raw. I'm still not 100% sure that this is going to be a nice, clean 2-on-2.
It will be, just because it's a rematch.
Officially, it'll be a 2-on-2. I think it'll stay
Ambrose and Rollins will retain, and then we'll see where we go from there.
With all of those great tag team options. John Cena, Roman Reigns, Clash of the Titans.
Oh, it just took John Cena not being there for Roman Reigns to actually be able to burn Cena.
It's real easy to burn someone when they're not fighting back.
That was actually a really good promo he cut on Monday. And I loved the way he mocked Cena at the end with his with the whole Hollywood thing. That was neat.
The $1 million question: who's gonna win?
Well, history says that if you mock somebody for going to Hollywood, you'll lose. So I'll go with John Cena.
And I'll take Roman Reigns to be contrary. Universal Championship. I said the last match was a Clash of the Titans. This is also one. Brock Lesnar defending against Braun Strowman. Will we finally see the championship weekly?
No.
God damn it. If we all believe, and we all just agree that Braun Strowman's gonna win, it might happen.
I have to be contrarian because I think that whatever I say will happen in this match will be the opposite of the actual outcome.
Fair enough.
Honestly, I could see them giving it to Braun. I just don't think it's No Mercy. For some reason, I just don't see it happening Sunday.
I'll continue to cross my fingers and hope like hell that Braun Strowman manages to whip out a win. I definitely, again, as you said, No Mercy, it is a very strange pay-per-view in the first place to be having such a top two pay-per-view clash between these guys. Even John Cena, Roman Reigns, again, another, either a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania main event caliber match there. So having the title change, it would seem slightly out of place, but I'm never going to complain when it puts the title on Braun Strowman. Been riding that pony for way too long.
Well, last year at last year's No Mercy, the title, it was a Smackdown pay-per-view, but the main title did change hands on it.
That's definitely not.
Of course, that was AJ Styles that won.
I'm hoping. I've said it enough times. Somehow it locks it in with fate that Braun Strowman's going to win here. But that's pretty much all we got time for this week. It's been great talking to you.
Maybe.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling Roundup Radio, Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling Radio. And we'll see you next week.
sky's the